Were Juuls and other vaping products really intended for adults? Probably just about every person in this room has been affected by vaping or electronic cigarettes in one way or another. Whether it is yourself, a friend, a loved one, it is almost inevitable to avoid completely. While these products were intended for adults, young people in today's society are getting addicted at a very young age. Juuls have become quite the rave nowadays, but the question is, do we need them? Today, I am going to give insight regarding risks and potential negative effects tied to vaping and Juuls. Since we are in college, a lot of us will want to try out new things, but I'm going to tell you why we should not pick up this habit. I've done a lot of extensive research on vaping and Juuling. First, I will explain what the story is about, then I will discuss the different media sources that have covered the story, and lastly, I will discuss the different bias in each of the sources. Juul and many other vaping products were intended to be used as an alternative for adult smokers, but instead they're being used by teens and other young adults. Juuls and vape pens is a form of electronic cigarettes. Like normal cigarettes, electronic cigarettes can contain nicotine, which is highly addictive. There have been several cases reported of a mysterious lung disease from vaping, and few people have died from it. While companies started releasing candy-like flavors, which includes watermelon, mango, cappuccino, mint, and strawberry lemonade, it is clear to many and the FDA that these products were no longer intended for adult smokers. According to an article in 2017 by Truth Initiative, about 11.7% of high schoolers admitted they'd used some type of e-cigarette at least once, which is up 10.2% from 2011, and about 3.3% of middle schoolers admitted to using an e-cigarette, which is up 2.7% from 2011. An article by CNBC states that 12 people have died and about 805 cases of the mysterious lung disease have been reported. Because of a number of young people using these products and becoming ill, the Trump administration and FDA are working on banning these products. In an article posted by Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, as of 2018, 18 states have raised their smoking age to 21 to try to prevent younger adults and teens from using these products. Because there are health risks arising and few have died, there is a lot of media coverage done on this topic. Around the beginning of September is when the Trump administration started talking about issuing a ban on flavored e-cigarettes. Several articles have been made, including one from the New York Times, CNBC, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, and CNN. Each of these sources include that teens are using some sort of e-cigarette, and they also state that many have become ill or died. While each of these sources have basic information that remains the same for the most part, each source contained bias, which gave information to audiences in different methods. It is very rare to find a news article, or any article for that matter, with absolutely no bias. Bias in news articles can make an audience feel a different way about what is being talked about, making the audience feel great or poorly about something. In the first article by CNN, the author, David Perry, seems to be upset that the Trump administration is heavily focused on banning flavored e-cigarettes when, as Perry claims, guns have killed many more people. In the article, he states that 6 Americans have died from vaping. As many as 450 people in the U.S. now have some sort of lung-related illness from using e-cigarettes. But if Trump suddenly wants to think of children and save American lives, here's a better idea: enact meaningful gun regulations. He then goes on to write that in 2017, guns killed more people than cars did. The article by CNBC seems to be relatively factual and to the point. They include a graph about the U.S. death toll from vaping-related illnesses. They include a lot of stats about the number of deaths and vaping-related illnesses. They even include a paragraph about symptoms of a rare deadly form of pneumonia caused from vaping. In an article by Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, they state that an important strategy is to increase the legal age of tobacco to 21. They go on to state that in doing this, it will reduce smoking among youth and save lives. The article by the New York Times is the only source that states that Michigan is the first state to completely prohibit the sales of flavored e-cigarettes. It also explains that last year the FDA retained from a threat to prohibit the sale of e-cigarettes as there was an increase in teen usage. It is said that about 5 million minors reported that they've used some sort of e-cigarette. In an interview with Alex Azar, who is the Human and Health Secretary, he claims that teens will just switch to mint and menthol flavors rather than just stop vaping. Even though there has been much talk about banning flavored e-cigarette flavors, it does not change the fact that the issue itself is in the act of vaping, not just the flavors. Nicotine is a highly addictive substance in Juuls and other vaping products, so the Trump administration is trying to ban these products as they are extremely dangerous to teens and adults. There are many risks associated with vaping, and many young adults and teens have been affected. In life, some risks are worthwhile, but is vaping one of them?